National Beverage Company obviously produces beverages. What we do is try to create jobs with high quality products. Contrary to what most business people try to do is to cut costs and eliminate jobs. I take pride in creating jobs. We started 20 years ago with 48 people. Today we are at 800 plus people. So all the rest is secondary. See, I can't see any company in our environment, in the Palestinian territory, whether in Gaza or in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, where we haven't done quite a lot of social or impact changes. And one has to recognize, if it weren't for Coke, I wouldn't be as knowledgeable about these things without them. So there is something positive about big multinationals. Plus, CocaCola is very serious and quite sincere about this issue of social impact. They see a big role for women that can play. We had a program which we try to be associated or to take advantage of, called 5x20, which is creating 5 million women entrepreneurs by the year 2020 around the world. So if I can get a piece of that cake and succeed in our territories, in our country, I'll be very happy. Plus, for example, if you take water issues, we took this with all the problems in Gaza being, with the blockade in Gaza, water situation is deplorable. I mean, it's just inhuman. So we built our own desal station and gave water to approximately 30,000 inhabitants of one of the camps. We established the first women football team, which were number 2 regionally, after 2 years only. And the captain is now a vice president at FIFA in Zurich. So, these things always affects my mood. When I'm in a bad mood, I think about these things, I teach my staff, I always say, you have to challenge the challenges. Yes, we do have challenges, but what do you do? What do you do about it? You just have to keep. I mean, when we had a total invasion of the Israeli army, we couldn't get from one point to the other. So we moved some of our products on the back of a donkey to go up the mountain and back to the village and so on. Yes, but you have, and I always say, and I will say it maybe late this afternoon, that life shows no mercy for those who give up. So that's all. And we have practical issues. If there is a wall in front of you, you go around the wall. And I think occupying forces in difficult situation also see that creating jobs creates stability. And creating stability lessens violence and so on. So I also make life easy for the staff and keep developing them, that they see that there is no limit to mankind's potential, or as we say, I unleash their potential. And you get self-confidence, then you get this faith in yourself and you fight it. Just to put it in context, our biggest problem, other than the political problem and so on, is, for me, the number one enemy is brain drain. So the first word creates problems and benefits from these problems. So all the great talent, you see them in the first world. And a lot of them are immigrants. And that's how do I create an environment where they stay home. So, and because the unemployment among graduates, I tell you, it will shock you that unemployment among graduate women is 80%. And among the younger people, I mean, male gender is around 40%. So, and yet you look at their IQ, is just unbelievable with a literacy rate of 98%. So how do we get these to stay? And so we established an innovation fund, like a startup fund, but a very high risk fund. In other words, we just push these young people with ideas into an accelerator, and some make it, some don't make it, but those who make it, we give them the initial capital. It's usually around 40,000. So to get started, generate, and we've had in the last 3 years around 30 startups. Maybe 10 will make it, which is an extremely high ratio for startups, so or pre-angel startups. And each one kind of employs 7 to 12 people, and then the multiplier effect will be enormous if it works. So that's one way of doing it in a concrete way, and they're very excited. The competition is I mean, we're getting a pipeline of ideas which is enormous, and you'd be surprised to hear that the best ideas, we get them out of Gaza, which is here always linked to rockets and nothing else. But you have a very high level of creative minds out there. I think, you know, we use here at Business for Peace a lot of the word business-worthy. And maybe you ought to do a new organization called governing-worthy. But maybe this would have to be in the next life, because you know what, in so many countries, leadership has been the worst model for the young generation. And how to take care of that, I don't know. Maybe we have to redefine democracy and redefine human rights and redefine a lot of these concepts. And I hope the younger ones are smarter than us.